I just set it on the recording. So I'll be able to send it to you a little later tonight or today. So yes, from this actually you can definitely pick up plenty of extra credit. You can, like I say, what if I do 20? You can do 30, 20, whatever. I'm sure it's not going to take you too long to do it and to definitely ace this class just by spending extra little time enjoying some extra credit. So that's worth to think about, and that's why I decided to look at section 5.2, because I think this is a section that will improve anybody's quiz score, whoever wants that improvement. So there are two rules in this particular section about adding the numbers, and those rules say if signs are same, you add the numbers and you keep the sign. So I added the numbers 7 and 5 and kept negative sign. And the other rule says if signs are different, then you subtract the numbers. Like in exercise 21, you subtract the numbers, 12 and 8, and you get 4, and you take the sign of larger. So if larger number is positive, it'd be positive. If in exercise 23, larger number has negative sign, the result is negative. But again, I subtract numbers 9 and 6, and I get 3. So these two rules, same signs, add the numbers, different signs, subtract the numbers. They also work for subtractions, like in exercise 33, when you have different signs, one positive, the other is negative, you subtract numbers, and we always subtract the smaller from larger. We subtract 15 and 7, so you get 15 and 8, you get 7. And the result is going to be with a minus sign, because again, we always take sign of largest number. So you subtract the numbers and keep the sign of larger. When you have subtractions, there is one little extra thing comes into play, the fact that two negatives turn into positive. So if you have two minuses, you get a plus. In other words, exercise like 39 is talking about the addition plus 3. But at the end of the day, I have to subtract those numbers because they do have different signs. So you subtract 12 and 3 and you get 9, but it'd be negative because the larger number is negative. So I'm sure you already encountered this type of procedures before, and it's just a refresher of what you learned. So as I said, you can definitely do some problems and just a second, there's a question. Double check, there's a question somebody asked. So yeah, you can ask me any question at any time. I'm monitoring my chat. If sometimes I don't answer right away, it means that I probably right now on somebody else's question. So yeah, if you're late, that's fine, as long as you stop by. So anyways, let us try to do other operations. Those be multiplications and divisions. And if you would like, again, question is if I want to do some extra work, well, you can do extra work. If you, again, missed some quizzes, then you can send me extra credit at any time when you're done with it. Just make sure you put in your email that this is your extra credit, so I know what it is. Reason I ask is because I started to get lots of spam, and the system tells me not to open the attachments. So if somebody sends me some kind of email with attachment and they don't say what it is, I was told by IT not to open it. So please tell me this is my extra credit, so I know that you send it to me, not just some kind of thing that might harm our college system. That's why I keep saying, when you email me some work, tell me what it is, so I know if I should be opening it. That's very important. So please think about it. So anyways, I'm going back to the section, and now we have another two operations, such as divisions and multiplication. So let me maybe scroll down a little bit here. And we can see lots and lots of multiplications that appear. So let me do one of those. Let's say exercise number 49 that says multiplying two negative numbers. Negative 13 by negative 1, which is equal to positive 13. So when you start multiplying, rules completely change. Two minuses give you plus. On contrary, with adding or subtracting, that's totally different procedure. So when you have two minuses, the result is plus, and you just multiply the numbers. Analogously, you do divisions, like exercise 71. When you divide two negatives, you also get positives. You divide 90 by 3 and you get positive 30. So it looks like the signs tell you when you multiply or divide, two minuses is plus. One minus is still a minus. You say, Alex, what about 75? Well, 75 you cannot do because you're not supposed to divide by 0. And if you're not sure if that's true or not, remember, we have a calculator. You can always put numbers in your scientific calculator, in fact, in any calculator you have, and divide. So if I try to divide numbers -7 and 0, the calculator is not going to take it. So don't divide by 0. I think that's the favorite rule that we encounter in arithmetic classes. So there is no answer when you try to divide by 0. And the rest of this section works with so-called order of operations. And order of operations says grouping symbols first. For example, if I try something like exercise number 95, then I have to start with what's in the parentheses. So there are two sets of parentheses that we have here. And those parentheses raised to the power of 3, both of them. And inside the parentheses, I have to subtract. So I subtract 3 and 5, and I get number -2. And you subtract 1 and 3, and you get number -2 as well. So it looks like we start with parentheses. So I calculated a couple of differences. They both negatives because we subtract the larger numbers. Now I need to decide what is a -2 if you raise it to the power of 3. And it looks like we have to multiply -2 with a -2 and with a -2 3 times. 3 times. And this is still going to be negative -8, right? Because when you multiply two negatives, we get positive. Minuses cancel. But when you multiply it again by negative, the result will have minus sign with it. So we have -8 for each parenthesis. So let me write these down. So this is going to be -8 as well as the other piece. So now I can continue my calculation. I can take the product of 6 and -8, right? And it's going to be negative product. 6 times 8 is 48. So that's the first piece. And the next product, maybe I can even write it like that. So it'd be -48. And the next product here, when we multiply negative by negative, will become positive. Two minuses, when you multiply, give us a plus. 2 times 8 is number 16. So when I add 16 minus 48, the result is going to be negative because we subtract actually 16 from 48, we get 32, right? And the result is also with a minus sign because the larger number gives us the sign. Just like that. So I hope this stuff is somewhat familiar. And this section, yes, has a little bit more of exercises. But the good thing about it, I hope it's all very, very familiar. So practice plus we don't have to do. It looks like chapter 5 turns into a very nice little chapter. And I just want to say a couple of more words about next section, and then we'll talk about the exam. So next section is another old favorite, such as fractions or so-called rational numbers. The reason they called rationals is because you can write them as ratios, as fractions. Let's say if you divide 1 by 2, you get something like 0.5. Or if you divide 1 by 3, you get something like 0.333 ... Sometimes people write this as a 0.3 with a bar. Did you ever see that before? It means that 3 repeats again and again and again, infinitely long. So those ratios or rational numbers, sometimes we call them as rationals, could be treated either as a decimal that ends, that stops, or decimal that continues forever, that repeats. So there are two types of fractions that we can produce, two types of ratios. Well, it turns out that such number as 2 is also a rational number. You can write it as a quotient of 2 over 1. So if you want, you can produce it as a fraction, write it as a division, or people say quotient, and 2 or number 3 or number 4 or any whole number also could be turned into fraction, in other words, into rational number. So in this section, they talk about fractions. So we worked with whole numbers. Now they look at various fractional numbers or rational numbers. So I can do a couple of problems and then we'll look at the midterm. So looks like section 5.3 continues working with those arithmetic exercises, but now we are dealing with fractions. So how about, maybe I'll look at the first page here. First page of the section where the exercises start. I just want to look at the first page today. So let me maybe clean all the mess I created so far real quick. So share this back. And they say, how about if you deal with these little fractions, can you produce decimals out of them? For example, if I start exercise 25, 3/4, would that be 0.75? You say, how did you know that? Well, I actually memorized it, but what people can do is just divide 3 by 4, and that's how you produce yourself a fraction, 0.75, you see? So it's not that hard, especially when you have access to the calculator, right? So you just want to divide. Well, some of these fractions will be infinite decimals. Let's say, what if you decide to divide exercise 32, 3 by 11? 3 by 11. Sometimes people do it like that. They put 11 into 3, right? And since they cannot divide, what they do is they say, okay, I'm gonna add a few zeros so I could try to do my division. But since they start to use decimal, they put the decimal point on the top. And now they see how many times would 30, or actually 11, will go to 30. And I can go twice, right? 2 times 11 or 22. So we'll get 8 remaining. And then you continue the process. You can use as many zeros as you like. So if I start with 80, it's going to be 7, because 11 times 7 is 77. and then you get 3, and you can use another 0. So you can put as many zeros here as you like. So 30 again, when you say, oh, Alex, we already had 30. So I need to take 2, right? And then it'll be 22. When I subtract it from 30, it'll be 7. Oh, 8, sorry, should be careful. 8, right? And then I use another 0, and then I use 7. When I say so, then you're gonna get another 27, another 27, another 27. Exactly. So we can write this as a decimal, which is 0.27 with a bar. It means that we repeat 27, 27, 27, 27, and so forth. Okay, so looks like pretty much everyone is here on Zoom. That's great. So let me do last problem on this page, and we'll take a look at the midterm. So how about if I try to express decimal as a fraction? For example, if I try exercise 39, which is 0.4. I say, Alex, this is 4/10. This is your fraction. Yes, any decimal you can write as fraction as 4/10. Or you could reduce this and be dealing with 2/5, right? So let me do the last one. So I can also write 48 as a fraction. That'd be 7006 over 1 with 4 zeros, turns out, because for every decimal place, we should use 1 0. So the name of this will be tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. So I divide by 10,000. But once again, please notice that upper number is even, so I should be able to divide both of them by 2. In other words, I can factor my 10,000 as 2 times 5,000. And since the upper number is also even, I should be able to factor it with a 2 as well. So notice that 7,000, if I divide by 2, will be 3,500. And if I divide 6 by 2, I'll get 3. So when I cancel my common factor 2, I say, what does cancel mean? Well, if you divide by 2, you put 2 in denominator, you divide by 2, and then you multiply by 2. So you put 2 in numerator. It means you don't do anything with your fraction. So this way you have no 2's because you double and then divide by 2. So it means there's no point to have those 2. So you can simply make them disappear. And at the end, you will get the answer 3,503 divided by 5,000. So I'd like to repeat the story that I already had talked about today in the beginning of our class meeting about the extra credit problems for those people that would like to get better results on their quizzes. So what you need is to think about extra credit exercise. So far in class, the question is how many quizzes we had so far in class. So far in class, we had 4 quizzes. So if you took 2, then you missed 2. So you need to get 2 more problems to fix this. And instead of arguing with me about how many quizzes you did or whatever, what you need is to just do 2 little exercises, 2 even problems. I give you a chance to fix it. See, you should appreciate it. Because if you start arguing with instructor might get real mad and say, okay, no chance to fix it. So just if you think you deserve a good grade, it sounds that you're shooting for A, excellent. So excellent students, do it excellent. If the instructor tells them, okay, you want to get a good grade, just do a couple of quizzes. So do a couple of extra credit problems. That's what excellent students do. The students that don't want to do it say, no, Alex, no way, I'm not going to do it. Doesn't sound like that's an excellent student, right? There may be a student that is, not excellent, for sure. So that's the thing. So if you want to show me that you're an excellent student, which I totally accept, well, do a few extra credit problems. Very simple. So I understand that maybe internet didn't work. Maybe it was all my fault. Maybe I didn't collect your result because of whatever. It took time or so just fix it. I don't think it's very difficult to do a couple of even exercises. In fact, I just did exercises like 39, the 48. You can do even probably, let's say number 40. Is that really hard exercise to do? Look at this, 6/10, right? And that's 3/5. And this is it, and you will fix one of your quizzes. Think about it. I'm giving you a very good chance right now, okay? So anyways, what you can do to fix your quiz scores is even numbered problems. Homework is odd numbered problems, but you can do some even number problems. What even numbered problems? Any one you like. So you like problem number 42, you can do 42. You don't like 42, you can do 26. So the point of story, you can do any even numbered exercises from those sections that we covered. So if you like to do them from section 5.3, here's section 5.3, you can do problems from section 5.3. Now, if you're still wondering what you did wrong on the quizzes, well, every class meeting, pretty much, I give you quiz, right? We have quiz. Next class meeting, I do this quiz for everyone in class. And if you miss that time, say you log in a little later, I sent you recordings. So you can just look at the recordings of those lectures and see how I do this quiz for you. So I think there is nothing to argue about. If you did the quiz, the next class meeting, you have a recording, and you can see what I did for that quiz. And advice is write down your quiz solution, quiz answer, so you will be able to compare. Because otherwise, yes, you might forget even what the quiz was asking, so you wouldn't really remember what your answer was. But it's a good idea to write down your quiz result for the future, because we'll have quizzes, probably not today, maybe next time, right? So in the future. So when you take the quiz, write down your quiz answer, because next class meeting, I will start with doing that quiz problem for the whole class. So once you see your answer and compare it with what I did, you will be able to right away see if you got it right or something went wrong. And if something went wrong, there is nothing to panic about. All you have to do a couple of even numbered exercises. So if you want to discuss some quizzes or whatever problems you have in mind, yes, of course, I can do this at the end of class for you. But once again, you can easily fix all that by doing some even numbered problems. And you can do as many as you like. If you want to do 10 of them, you can do 10 of them. So you will definitely fix all of your quiz results, even if you missed some quizzes. Because right now, I think I see some people here that missed quite a few quizzes. So you can fix that. You just need to be in class and so to take next quizzes that will help. And you also should work on some of these even extra credit exercises. Okay, so I'd like to say a few words about the midterm exam that we had last time. And then we can definitely all take a look at the particular questions you have, whether they're about quizzes or about anything else. Yeah, I'm open to those. We can definitely work them out. I think it's a very good idea, in fact. So what I'm trying to do right now is find the exam that I gave. Maybe I easily find it here. So it's midterm. Okay, here it is. So in the midterm that I sent by email to everyone, we were supposed to do 2 exercises, right? 2 exercises. And from those 2 exercises, we were supposed to use last digits of the student IDs that you have. So I made an example. If your student ID is ending with 6, for example, yours probably ended with something else. Then you use, instead of letter B, number 6, and utilize this for the problem here, for the problem number 1. So if there was a 6, then you use 6 plus 3. Does anybody have a preference for some other B rather than 6? Because if not, I'll just use 6. If you have something else, I can use something else. But technically, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so I'll use 6, right? Okay, so it'll be, 1. Okay, let's use 1. So it'll be 1 plus 3 in the case if you have B is equal to 1, last digit. So it'll be 4. So I need to write numeral 43 in the base 4, which means that I'm going to be able to use only digits 0, 1, 2, and 3. So if you're in the base 4, you have only 4 digits. So you don't have 5, you don't have anything else in the base 4, because you write them all with the powers of 4. Powers of 4 are 0 power of 4, first power of 4, second power of 4, which is 16. Third power of 4 is already bigger. 16 times 4 is, let me write, third power of 4 is already going to be, if this is 1, this is 4, this is 16. And when you multiply 16 by 4, is going to be 64. And that's already too much for number 43. So the third power is not present. Okay, so now I'm going to need to write number 43 using the split with 16 with 4 and 1s. So first of all, I try to fit 16 into 43. So I need to see how many 16s go into 43. And notice if I take it twice, it's going to be 32. And if I take it 3 times, it's already going to be too much, right? So if I take 16 twice, 2 times 16, so I already have 32. And what remains, so I'm going to put a little bit more here, will be 11, right? So 11, 16 does not fit into 11, so I done with 16, now I break it with 4s. So how many 4s will fit into 11? Well, it looks like 2 of those 4s, 2 times 4, which is 8. That fits into 11, right? And the remaining portion after I deduct from 11, 8 will be 3. 3. So there'll be 3 1s that remain into this number. And what we used to do is just take the first digits here, because powers of 4 we don't really utilize, and write the answer, which is 2, 2, 3 in the base 4. So that would be the answer for first exercise. Of course, if your last digit of student ID is something else, definitely it'd be something else, right? So if somebody else wants me to do this with another last digit of student ID, then please let me know. I will utilize another last digit. Should I do problem 2? Okay, so how about last digit for problem 2? Actually, for problem 2, I was asking you to use a digit prior to the last. So you want to use 7. Okay, so let's use here digit 7 instead of A. So A, I put 7. So A plus 3 then will be 7 plus 3, right? And that's going to be number 10. Okay, so let me do that. So I'm going to be working with number 10 and 12. So we actually have least common multiple to find for those two numbers. And there was a standard way to go, factor them, 2 and 5. And the other we factor was 4, 3, and then again down to prime factors 2 and 2. So people usually write the factorings here. So it would be 2 squared and a 3. And the other factors was 2 and 5. The reason I like to write those factorings is because the least common multiple will come out as collection of all factors we see here, which means that we're going to have 2 2's because 2 squared is present. Notice that 1, 2 is a part of it, so I don't care for it. Next will be a factor of 3, so it times it by 3. So this way I have entire 12 already a part of it. And next will be 5 that we have from the last number. So this is my least common multiple for this particular pair. And if I need to see what it is, in fact, we do need to see what it is, I multiply 4 by 15 and I get 60. So the lowest common multiple of these two numbers will be 60. And that's the answer for the exercise. So I hope that the midterm was not very hard exam, right? It doesn't take too long to do it. Maybe what, 10 minutes? Okay, you take 1 hour, 2 hours. I gave you plenty of time for this. But the point of the story is you need to send it to me the same day, right? Somebody say, Alex, I couldn't send it. I just totally forgot. Just totally forgot. I just forgot to send my midterm to you. Well, we can talk at the end of class what we can do about this if you be interested in discussing that. Just wait till the class end. And in the meantime, I think I should answer the question. There was a question in chat about some kind of quiz. Let me see what this is all about. So 101, break number, and the answer was 5. So exercise 101. So let me try to find out what that is, because I will need to, yeah. For the homework, we'll have another set to turn in on the day of the final exam. Just like you did it for the midterm, you will also need to turn in homework on the day of final. I look at the homeworks and I see some people did not turn in homework. Well, I can give you a chance to still do it and to submit it as soon as you're done, which means that you should submit it to me when? I hope by the end of this week. So if you work on your homeworks, maybe over a weekend, so maybe by next Monday, I think that'd be a good deadline. I'm talking about midterm homework and those people that didn't have a chance to finish with it. So work on it and finish with it. And similarly, you'll be assigned to do homework for the final exam. And today I already looked at a couple of sections in chapter 5, by the way, at 5.2, and started 5.3. So you have a little bit of homework to do for chapter 5, but it will be due for at the day of the final exam. So final exam we have in 4 weeks, right? So we still have plenty of time for that. But for the final exam homework, you're gonna definitely need to meet a deadline, because if you, yes, 5.2, 5.3 for now, yes. For next time, the homework. That's what we looked at today. But for the final, if you don't meet the deadline, if I don't get your homework for final, I'll have to submit the grade on Friday, week 8 of class. So if I don't get your homework by that day, You're going to lose 10% of the grade simply because of that. And yes, that's why I give final on Wednesday. So you will have those people that something happened with. We'll still have a couple of days and we can always discuss that, see if I got your homeworks or not, to make sure that you're fine with all that. But if you email it to me, I get it. Very simple, right? If you send me email, let me show you how I get those exams. So let me share the screen and get emails here. So notice if you have the sent emails, then the homework should appear in your out mailbox. Where's my out mailbox here? Sure, something happened to this. Oh, here it is. So send items. So if you look at your sent, if you send me your homework, then you can see what you sent to me. So if you send and if it went through, then you will definitely be able to see that all these files actually attached, right? So you just look at the sent and they will all show there. And if you did not send it to me or something did not get attached properly, well, then I guess you should resend it, right? So you should be able to check if you actually did send me your homework or not. Or you can ask me, I'll tell you during the class if I received your homework. That's fine, I will tell you. So right now I'm trying to go back to chapter 4 because there was a question on exercise 101. So let me try to find exercise 101. Someone asked a question about exercise 101. So let's do it. I would love to do it. I think these are good exercises. I think these are some base 2 conversions. So it should be in the section 4 point something, right? So let me see where this is. 101. Not sure. 101, that's a big number. So I'm not sure if any sections actually had that many problems, but let's check it out. Here's 50, so that's not 4.3, maybe it's 4.2. Let's check it. No, not 4.2, maybe 4.1. The question is about one of the quizzes that we have had in chapter 4, but I don't see exercise 101 in it. You asked me about exercise 101. I don't see exercise 101. I see it all goes much lower, so you can double check. Let me clean all this mess I produced so far. Share screen. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to remember what was for a quiz, especially if it was a while ago. And that's the reason why I give you a chance to make up for it. So you can do any even problem. So you can do any problem from these exercises. So evens like 24, 26, or anything that is even. The exercise was 101. So that's a number 101, or that's a number that's number of exercise 101, or I don't see number 101 in any of these sections. What section are you talking about? Because in 4.2 we had only 48 exercises and then practice plus started, or there was number 101. Oh, this is the problem. made it for quiz. Oh, okay. So, well, here I don't see 101 in this section. Maybe it's in the next section. Yeah, it's difficult to remember, especially if I made it up. And that one,
I saw it. You missed it. You have to go back because I saw it. I
oh,
think number 8.
thank you. Yeah,
Oh,
that's good that you can see this because I should have been careful. Number 8.
number 8.
Oh, 1101.
1101. Oh, no. Never mind. Never mind. I thought I saw 101, but no.
Yeah, I think I start to recognize something like that. So maybe I made it up. So we had 1101 in the base 2, and I need to write it in the base 10, something like that. So if we have a base 2, then we write this as a to the power of 0, to the power of 1, to the power of 2, right? So those are positions of powers of 2. So what we used to do is just to multiply these digits with various powers of 2. So we can do that. So multiply by 2 to the power of 0, and that will be 2 to the power of 1, and that will be 2 to the power of 2. Okay. And then we'll get some answer, which is going to be 4 here, and this is 0, and this is 1. So this be 5, right? And that's what you said. That's 5. Yeah, that's the answer, 5. So it turns out that 5 in the base 10 is 101. But anyways, if you missed some quiz, maybe you missed some other quiz because we had a few of those. And again, you can always work out this quiz exercises, actually make up for this quiz exercises by doing any problem from the even group of exercises. You can do any of these or any of those even problems. Or if you don't like those, you can look at even problems from some other section. Now we have section 5.2, 5.3 available. I think those be probably nicer ones, right? So just work on those, and as I said, email me your work, not just answers, work, and make sure you say that this is extra credit. So I know what it is. So I can open this attachment without any risk. Because as I said, I just talked with IT. In fact, my computer right now is at IT because of some kind of virus that came through it. And I suspect that there was one of the attachments that I opened, and they told me not to open any attachments unless I'm sure that this is from my student. And some students use outside of school emails. So when I get these emails from your personal, say, Gmail account or some other account, that's fine. Just make sure you write, this is my extra credit and I'm in your MGF plus. So that way I know that you're my student and I will open that attachment. Because otherwise, if there's just email came from some outside the MDC system place, they warn me that there is a potential spam and they tell me not to open. The system actually does it. So please be aware of it. So I don't think it takes too long to just write this as extra credit for MGF 1107. And this is it. So please think about it. And if you have any more questions, don't hesitate to ask. As I said, I posted all your results on Blackboard, and I posted 2 types of results, the midterm and quizzes. And you can fix your results on the quizzes by doing more even extra credit exercises. So if you don't have any questions, I'll let you go. I'm gonna stop recording at this stage.